but I gotta ask you about Kamala Harris. How you feel about her?
She's a piece of shit. I was in California. She lacked professional competence and she worked on it by hiking up her hemline when she needed influence rather than researching. I was out in California for 15 years doing my show when she was at her peak, and she had a reputation amongst the trial lawyers of being lazy. She just hike her skirt up and try to flirt, and she
Really?
wasn't that good in the courtroom.
Wouldn't have guessed.
Not pretty bad in the courtroom. So I'm not surprised at what she does. She's 60 years old, and I think listening to her word salad and the way she talks, I think she's got early onset dementia and also some problems with menopausal complications. That's that, you see, today is going to be tomorrow. So since it's going to be tomorrow, today we have tomorrow, which is why we are now. Like,
Welcome to the Freedom Unchained channel. We're gonna watch this video to expose Kamala Harris and her not blackness by Judge Joe Brown. At first I thought this was her Willie that she had an affair with, but it's even better. Judge Joe Brown, and he's gonna rip her a new one and bring out a lot of great information about her that needs to be spread. So we're gonna help spread that. So let's just get to it.
what did you say? They have something in mind, but they cannot cognate getting all the way through it, which is why she's famous for this word salad garbage, and she doesn't make a bit of sense. I think since she's only 60, she's actually on a worse track than Biden was. Biden is 20 some years older than her, and he has been senile for a long time. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, when did they start ramping up to do this? 2019. Okay, I was saying Biden has been a failure his whole adult career, a second-rate, third-string player. He's in the game, so he wants to make a name for himself. I considered him for years poor trailer park, urban trailer park trash. And he's a crook. He's a third stringer.
Now, for sure he's a third stringer.
What I said he was going to do is he probably wants to claim fame for being the first person to see to it that a woman got to be president. And what I predicted, I'm slightly wrong on it, was that he was going to get in, try to get elected, and if he got one term, try to get elected for a second one. And then halfway through his term, when he had served 2 years, to retire or resign in her favor. So under the 22nd Amendment, what happens is she can serve for the final 2 years for somebody and then be elected twice more. So that woman would be able to serve 10 years, second only to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who got elected to 4 terms before they put the amendment in place so you couldn't. Now, that...
Yeah, you got pretty damn close. But you lack to see how brain dead Biden is. So we really hope that doesn't happen. That would be the worst thing ever, to see Kamala Harris as a president, or the first black president. And of course Biden definitely wants his credit for bringing the first black president into the office, which she's not black. You'll find out in this video what she really is. But yeah, Biden, that's all he ever talks about is the first black president. What is it? I have to get that clip. Or is he the first black president, woman, vice president, Indian, Caucasian, Hindu, whatever he thinks. I don't know. It's a bunch of mess. This racist political dogma, or whatever you would call it. It's pretty sickening. But let's continue. There's going to be more sickening things you hear in this video.
Said, I think and my major at UCLA was political science. My analysis is they picked the weakest somebody they could as a figurehead,
Biden?
somebody who had
Harris?
some
Which one?
apparent minority status, which she
Oh,
does
Harris.
not. And what goes on is that you get her, everybody that is everybody would be afraid to go against her because of what she can pass herself off as. And then you get somebody that's easy to control because she's lazy, because she is becoming incoherent, and because she's always tried to do the casting couch to get where she wants.
Casting couch.
Now, the problem is that'll get somebody to a certain level quickly, but you can't get past that level if you don't have competence and talent. So my thing about it is if I'm crude about it, in this city years ago, I used to represent a whole bunch of pimps and hoes, and I know a hoe when I see one. And I say this, I don't care, women, you do what you want to do if you want to have recreational sex, but when you do the casting couch or anything else for professional purposes to get paid or advance, you a hoe. And she's old hoe. And the problem is what is she supposed to do? Somebody, one of her sycophant slaves comes up and unwraps her in a carpet naked at Putin's feet, and he says, oh yeah, I'm Julius Caesar. He said, no, I got better stuff here already. Plus, I don't want you anyway, you old woman. Get on up, you know. Or Xi Jinping, is he supposed to be impressed? She's doing word salad. Well, we're here today because China and the U.S. are here today, and that's why we have to agree on what we're doing here today. Like,
and we're gonna have a conversation about that.
fool, what did you just say? You know, did you say anything?
No.
And I've never seen such a salacious mess as I've seen out of her. I think of One West Bank. I had some pretty good properties out in California at one point in time. And I know I had 3 neighbors who had good properties. It was in a place called Ojai, California. And they got caught up about 15, 16 years ago, like a lot of people did, in that mortgage bundling scam stuff that was going on. And there was a bank called One West Bank responsible for it, which was owned by George Soros. The Mnuchin that you have out of the Obama administration was Mnuchin, who was the CEO of One West Bank. Well, there were approximately 1,200 counts of indictments returned against Mnuchin and One West Bank in various counties in California. Well, Mnuchin and Soros financed and arranged and sponsored Kamala to run for Attorney General of California. They got her elected. She got in, and using the authority she had, she promptly consolidated all 5,200 counts and dismissed them. And a couple of weeks later, Soros sold One West Bank for $4.2 billion.
Are you shitting me?
So after that, they got together and got her finance and got everything organized and made the connections for her, and she got elected to U.S. Senator. Willie Brown made the initial contacts and arrangements so she could get elected as district attorney for San Francisco. She didn't do a very good job. She had a reputation for giving out the stiffest sentences in the United States of America for simple possession of marijuana in San Francisco, for God's sakes. But it was only to young black men. She's not a parent, never had any children, but she went off on this campaign to lock parents up, some of whom actually were shown to have dropped their children off at the school, but they played hooky, so she was putting them in jail. I know.
This woman is so corrupt, it's not even funny. And this Judge Joe Brown is just dropping gems for us to pick up and run with. This woman is so nasty. The Democratic Party is so nasty. They're evil. And if you watch this channel, you understand I despise government, and I think we can do much better without them. But the reason I do videos like this supporting Trump, because I know we need a America that's strong to be able to bring back freedom in America. You know, we're like barely holding on to our freedoms. And if we allow some Democratic leader to get in office long enough, they will try and take away all of our rights, including democracy or the republic. We all know democracy just means their power. So at this point, I 110% support Trump to get in there and at least just hold the system together until we can get together and build a better system, which is the plan. The plan. So I hope you guys subscribe to this channel, like this video, and you guys gotta share this video all around. You guys gotta get the word out. We gotta build a bigger, better community where we can share good ideas and we can actually bring back freedom to America and to the world, because America was like the last hope for freedom in this world, and we slowly started to move other countries toward that until the deep state literally indoctrinated this idea of democracy, and now all these other countries are democracy, which then they make it seem like democracy equals freedom, which is 100% a fucking farce and a lie. That is not freedom. Democracy is not freedom. It is their first step to communists, fascists. Those are the same. Those are same. Those are one and the same. Communists and fascists, socialists, all one and the same. The only way we can move forward, or we should be moving forward, is to build a 100% free society out of the reach of corrupt men, which is government.
I know my in-laws, now late in-laws because they're dead, and their fine daughter that I was married to, we were divorced. She got a whole lot of money, but anyway, out of me. What wound up happening was there was a liquor store they like to patronize on the way home, and it was a good liquor store, but it got held up a lot, so Kamala's solution was not go get the crooks, but close down the liquor store so nobody would be troubled by it. See, that kind of philosophy, or you've got a serial killer who's got 6 victims, and the families are writing protest letters to her, not hurry up and do something, not why are you giving the guy such a light deal, is why don't you let this man plead guilty to life without parole instead of delaying it for 7 years, trying to make political hay out of it.
She's disgusting.
I was caught up in a thing where this woman who was supposed to be a financial specialist wound up embezzling a lot, $1.5 million from me, about $15 million from some other black celebrities. And most of it was in the San Francisco area, not LA where I was. She consolidated the cases up there in San Francisco, took 5 years to resolve it, let her plead out not the $15 million of embezzlement, but $35,000. The sentence was 5 years in the penitentiary, 4.5 years suspended, 5 years probation. The woman wound up sitting on a bench outside Sybil Branch, which is the women's detention facility in LA County, for 5.5 hours. That's all the time she served, made no restitution. And la-di-da, I'm through with it now, I don't care, on her behalf. Like, where's our money? You know, what did you do here? You didn't.
That is the 100% problem with the government, is that they're allowed to literally break the law. Somebody stole money, and instead of you making sure they pay their victims, that's what the court system's supposed to do, is make the victims whole and lock up the people that will continue to harm people. No, that they give them the easy sentence and do not make whole of the victims.
You didn't even consult with us. You did this on a surprise basis. There's $15 million gone. What happened? It's the kind of thing she would do, see. So it's like that was not a good professional performance. And then she was everybody's favorite Hindu Indian prosecutor and attorney general and senator, and now she becomes black. But, you know, I met her daddy, fine gentleman, Professor Harris. And the problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica and had them to work on plantation. So if mama is on the birth certificate listed as a Caucasian, daddy says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors, how did she get to be black?
She ain't black.
A little side story. When I had my show, let's say this has been 26 years ago, I had two beautiful women that I thought were sisters on the show. And they laughed one time when we all went to a happy hour and said, "You think we're black, don't you?" "Yeah, aren't you?" "No, we're Hindu." One of them said, "My mother's a Hindu Brahmin caste, and my father was Hindu warrior caste. He took an oath to the family to protect her. They fell in love, eloped, and now we got a death warrant on us. We can't go back to India." So, yeah, and then they gave me two books. The guys were Hindu, and they were very dark, but they cut their hair off close, grew beards, and started dressing and acting black, and they got financial aid. One of them, I think, went through medical school that way, masquerading for being black. Somebody else did it, so she went to Howard. And by the way, she told one big lie when she was talking about she got bust because of something Biden did when she was running against him. Well, the yearbook that she put out there that you can still get online from her high school in Canada shows she went from kindergarten through 12th grade in Canada, never went to school in the United States of America.
She ain't American.
She was born, by the way, in the same hospital that my ex-wife was born in, the same 12-month period, and my late mother-in-law was in fact a pediatric nurse in that hospital when Kamala was born. And the birth certificate that she has is interesting because the confusion comes from a mistake. On the birth certificate, it lists the mother's race as Caucasian, national origin India, and religion Hindu. For the father, it does not list national origin. It does not list religion. It does not list anything about that, but where it says race, they put national origin in, Jamaica, by mistake. Now, if you've ever been to Jamaica and you go over to St. Elizabeth Parish, you see all the high, bright, and white that live in Jamaica. So I've got a good friend retired from law enforcement. He has a white wife, blonde-haired, blue eyes, but she was born in Jamaica. Her parents were born in Jamaica. One's blonde and blue-eyed, the other one's red-haired and gray-eyed, and they happen to be related to the King of England because they are aristocrats in England, but they were born in Jamaica. So if you go over there, you see people from Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, Kenya, South Africa, you name it. It's part of the British Commonwealth, and nobody needed a passport, and you could just go in and out. So it's not unusual. You're not black just because you're from Jamaica, and they have a whole lot of white people that never left, and their ancestors owned a lot of slaves. The Maroons went up into the hill country and got themselves free back in the 1840s, but you know, other than that, it is what it is in Jamaica. So just because you're from that country does not mean you are of the black race. So the problem is why don't you go get your daddy to give you an affidavit that you have a black ancestor? And since the only possible claim you have is through your great-grandmother, who he says was a Hindu house servant, that just happens to be swarthy, where'd you get your blackness from? See, you're faking it again.
Go get you an affidavit. There's a pretty powerful document. Most people don't understand how powerful an affidavit is. A statement of truth. You know, the thing about affidavits is only a man can rebut an affidavit. A fictional entity cannot. We're just going to add that in there just for a little bit of knowledge for you guys. It has nothing to do with this. But it's great information for you, and it's a powerful instrument if you ever need to protect yourself in law or defend yourself in law. The key is the affidavit.
See, you're faking it again. And I say this after 50 years of experience, the worst human beings you will ever find are career prosecutors. Something slimy about them. They are so turned off by humanity and everything else. They don't care. They're trying to win the game. It is just play to them. They don't give a damn about the people they represent. They just want to win. So they lie, cheat, steal to win the game. And that brings up the other thing.
100%. Prosecutors are the most disgusting, despicable people on this planet. Or they're in that group. I'm sure there's plenty of other people with a title that are just as despicable. But there are normally titles from the government. And this is the best time, I guess, to let you guys know. I'm going to leave you guys a link in the description. You guys got to join this club. It's a club of sovereign men teaching each other how to be free. And they're going to teach you the proper way to write affidavits and write notices and actually express your law, because that's the key of kicking the fucking asses of these corrupt people. So hit the link, sign up for free, check out the club, let me know what you think.
Where the Supreme Court of California ordered her to produce the evidence that was exculpating to somebody sitting up on death row that she had hidden. They did that over and over and over again with her hiding this evidence. Now, there are exceptions to this rule with career prosecutors, but if you ever want to sleazy somebody, find yourself a career prosecutor who's never done anything else but that until they have moved up. Now, there have been people like Thomas Dewey, who was a career prosecutor. He got Lucky Luciano, the gangster that set up the mob as a syndicate, a business. He got him and became governor of New York and then an unsuccessful candidate for president twice. You have people like that, and you got Kamala, who was a career prosecutor, and that's essentially all she's done outside of moving directly over into politics. They tend to be crooks. They're not good people. It's like I used to...
Crooks.
On the bench, it's like, excuse me, can you approach... both of you, do you have any character? Do you realize what you just did? Well, I mean, no, we can't have that. That is not going to be allowed up in here. You do it again, and the court's going to see to it that you get a 10-day paid vacation courtesy of the sheriff. No. See.
A 10-day paid vacation? Courtesy of the sheriff. Why is it going to be paid? Why do we always pay these criminals? Can we stop paying these fucking criminals? Just take them off the job and stop paying them. They're criminals. As soon as they do criminal activities, like taking people away people's rights on purpose, there's no reason they should be getting paid. They should be getting prosecuted and thrown in jail. And I guarantee you, Kamala should have been thrown in jail a long time ago.
And that's what I'm looking at. She wants to be chief administrative officer, but she's never been the boss over anything. She was nominally with the Attorney General's office, but you've got all of these egos with all of these people with doctorate of laws who've taken the bar exam, and every one of them in there could run against you in an election and be your boss. and is as qualified technically as you are to run the place. So she's never been the boss in charge of something where she dictated, because what she did in San Francisco and when she got over California is she essentially had somebody else doing it, and she was just the political figurehead. So when you come into this situation here, Putin, Russia, Ukraine, those are serious things. They have a lot of nukes. You've got Xi Jinping, and China's got one hell of a huge army, air force, nukes, computer systems, and so on. What is your experience in international diplomacy? You got
Nothing.
made the representative of the country to handle the foreign affairs. You failed so badly they yanked you out when you were actually the boss in charge. The borders are. You just complete abject failure to that. Your only appearance down there was to sit in a chair in the desert while they interviewed you, trying to be cute, flashing your pearls, and you didn't do your job. So you're talking now about you want to legitimize 20 million aliens who've come in here and see that they get fast tracked so they can vote and become part of the whole process. What are you doing?
Yep, 100%. The only reason they're fast tracking is because they need the vote. Sorry, I'm about to speak some truth, but one of the lowest group of people are Latinos, Latinx, whatever you want to call them. And also the black community. I don't know why. I can't remember which one has the lowest IQ on average. Not saying that's a bad thing, not saying that's a good thing. But that means they're more manipulated. Propaganda can be spewed to them and they'll believe it. So their hope is the more uneducated, ignorant people they can get in this country and have illegally vote, they're going to vote for this person that's going to lie to them the most. Tell them what they want to hear and never get things done and never do things for them. And then hopefully they'll forget what they promised them the last time and they never delivered it. And they're just going to vote for him again. That's what they hope. And there's a study that just came out, a poll survey. Survey asked participants if they voted and how many of them identify as not being U.S. citizens. And the number is 10%. 10% people are not U.S. citizens that are voting in the United States of America presidential election. Like, I don't even do that. I might this time. Just because I know if we allow these communist, fascist, dictator Democrats in office, we won't have the chance to build a free society. Because I'm actually not a United States citizen. I am a American. I'm a man. If anything, I'm a states national, a California national. I was born in California. So I'm a state citizen of California and where I live. I don't have to be a United States citizen. But if I wish, I can actually claim that at any point. Because I'm a man. As a man, I can be whatever person I wish to be. Because the person's just a mask. And the true sovereign in this country are men, women. Not persons, not United States citizens. But I'm getting off track. Let's get back to it.
Whose jobs are you taking away? What about the people that actually lined up to go through the rules? I want to become a citizen, so I take the courses. See, nobody's checking. They've got an outbreak of hepatitis. They got an outbreak of measles. HIV is ramped up. They've got all kinds of things. They've got problems with strains of tuberculosis that have no cure. So people are, before they come down with it, you have to put them on prophylactics for the rest of their life so they don't get a fatal illness that nobody can cure. So nobody is running the medical test. Nobody is checking to see what penitentiary they got out of. And something that is pretty real is a movie. You remember Al Pacino in Scarface? They dumped all their penitentiaries and they're over here. You got all of these Latino gangs that have now infiltrated. You've got Ukraine, you've got Gaza, you've got people that hate the fact that they don't have technology to shoot down a B-1B bomber. So what do? They just walk across the damn border. Nobody's checking them. Somebody is giving them free transportation without even vetting their luggage. And in the luggage, they have military-grade explosives, which over the last several years, I'm sure they put in various building structures, hospitals, subways, and everything else. And on command, they flip the switch, and 911 looks like a Boy Scout meeting. So what are you going to do about these things? Nobody's checking. You have a situation right now that has to be taken into context. Just about every major seaport is using these container removal cranes, these giant gantry cranes. They're made in the People's Republic of China. Nobody checked them, and now they went back and did, and there seem to be some things built into them that they can't remove. Don't know what the function is, but they appear to be communication devices. What the hell are those? You know, so you want to shoot down a B-1 bomber 56 miles from the southern border point where there is a huge illegal crossing. There is a U.S. Air Force base where 24 B-1 bombers stage out of. You can just surround a damn base with some RPGs and take a few of them out. We don't have but 24 of them that are operational, and some other was in long-term storage because we can't afford to operate the damn things. What are you supposed to do? That was your job. Did you do it? Did you handle it? No. So, you know, they've got this thing where sometimes they promote people up. You know, you fail at a job, but you got a rep, so they can't get rid of you, so they promote you.
That's all of government. You know, if you want to be a failure in life, just go apply for the government. You can fail up. The government's despicable.
Like, for example, Halsey, Admiral Halsey, Bull Halsey, always charged off, was aggressive. Great in World War I, World War II, the first part of it. But there was a thing in the Philippines, well, not Philippines, Leyte Gulf. It was a disaster. The Japanese laid a decoy force out. He fell for the trap, took off with all of the warships, left the beaches totally unguarded, told nobody, and he should have been court-martialed. But because of his fame, they couldn't, so they wound up promoting him to 5-star admiral instead of court-martialing him and canceling him. So, I mean, they do this kind of thing. So it's not unusual. But I'm just saying, hey, if you're going to bring somebody in, bring in somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. Meanwhile, she had a little rally in Georgia. I think 86 people showed up. That was supposed to be interesting. And she had the nerve to call Vance unpatriotic. And he came back on her big time. He said, simplify, to serve, loyalty. I was in the Marine Corps over in the sand pile, and Trump took a bullet. What the hell have you done? You know, and you want to call somebody out on the subject. See, it's hypocrisy. But you see, I did this because I did what I did, and that's what I did, which is because that's why I did it. Hey, what the hell did you just say? Do you realize what you said? Do you know?
All right, that's it. He just demolished her. Brought out a whole bunch of good old information for us to spread over the internet. Because you know what's going to happen? people are going to catch on. Her poll numbers are going to get down. They're going to have this virtual roll call on like the 7th or 8th. Because if they don't do that, then they're not going to make it on the ballot for like 12 different states. Something like that. And by the time they get to the convention, they're not going to have a candidate. Which will be awesome. Because they're going to have infighting during this virtual roll call. Which is going to be fun to watch. And if that doesn't happen, then who knows? They must have had a great plan from the beginning that they're rolling out perfectly. But if they start thinking that Kamala is horrible, can't do it, can't get the job done, then there's going to be some people trying to step up, some delegates not going to go for her, and it's not going to be a pretty sight during that virtual roll call. And it's going to screw them in the long run, and it's going to be a fun show to watch. So I just can't wait for that, actually. So, all right, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave me a comment. Let's get a conversation started. And until next time, I'm going to leave you guys in the love and light of the One Infinite Creator. Peace.